Hello, guys, and welcome to another edition of All NBA 24/7. I am your host, Rishi Kapoor. Today is episode 13, and on today's episode, we're going to be discussing Carmelo Anthony going to the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets signed Carmelo Anthony. Like after, the Thunder, negotiated, like a buyout, because they believe that they could save long term in the luxury tax by eliminating his large contract. So they bought him out, and then Houston basically offered Melo the veterans minimum. And Carmelo was really, a topic of controversy. He was really in the news a lot, because a lot of people argued the fact that he should be coming off the bench. He had his worst season ever last year. I knew his points per game were going to dip, playing alongside Westbrook and Paul George, who are two shoot first players. I knew that his, points were going to dip. He averaged 16 points per game. The regular season was not too bad. He averaged 16 points on 40% field goal. But the playoffs was when it was really horrible. I mean, he just looked fat and out of shape. He could not keep up, in Utah. Oklahoma City was making, runs and playing better with him on the bench. And he just looked like a player that was just out of sync and and he was playing like a player that did not deserve his contract. And, people that were coming off the bench were playing better than him. So that's what made a lot of people argue the fact that, hey, this guy should be coming off the bench now in his career. And, before the season started last year, everybody thought that this was going to be, a great fit with OKC. But then you did have some players saying, how do you put three shoot first players on the same team and think it's going to be okay? And with all those Hoodie Mellow practice videos and him practicing and, because he looks so good in practice all the time. It's so deceiving. And in the NBA, in an NBA game, he looks entirely different. But the way Carmelo sees is that, hey, LeBron James is still a starter, and he's starting every game. He's the best player in the game, but you're different. You're not LeBron James. You're not in the same class as LeBron James. LeBron James puts in a lot more work in the offseason than you do. Preparing his body. But nonetheless, Carmelo Anthony still is a solid option, still is a solid player, and I like this move of him going to Houston. I believe though that they did take a step back and didn't get really better. I mean, sure they got better offensively, but they lost two premier defenders in Trevor Ariza and Luke Mbamute. So I don't think the team got any better, and I feel like they will finish third in the West, which is still great, obviously. But I got the Lakers over them and Warriors, obviously. Um, but Yeah, and then there were all kinds of memes coming out about what his 2K19 rating is going to be. People were saying 67 as a joke, but he ended up being a 79, which just shows you now he's in the 70s and his play's starting to drop. But I feel like he will be a better fit in Houston because he's playing with obviously James Harden's a shoot first guard, but he did lead the league in assists one season. Chris Paul's obviously one of the premier point guards and very unselfish. But both do love to have the ball in their hands a lot. So, Carmelo can't be ball dominant, but, Carmelo Anthony needs to be, improve and be a great spot up shooter and look for passes from these guys, James Harden and Chris Paul, though, aren't, as selfish, I believe, as Westbrook and Paul George are, and they aren't really like shoe first players as Paul George and Russell Westbrook are. James Harden's shoot first, Chris Paul's a pass first, and then Carmelo Anthony's a shoot first. So I feel like he will be able to fit in better with Houston than he did with OKC. But I'm not gonna jump to any conclusions. I'm not gonna say he's gonna have a great year, comeback year. He's looking great in his practice videos. Once again, he's practicing with with Chris Paul, and doing all these practice runs, and he's looking good. But I'm not gonna fall for that again. I'm not going to fall for that again. Last year was the same story, and the NBA season. I mean, he was just completely different. So he just needs to do. I mean, he does look like he's in pretty good shape. But as the season goes on, he gains the weight back. He just needs to maintain that weight during the season because who knows, his weight probably played a factor in the playoffs because he just looked absolutely irrelevant. I mean, I don't even think he was averaging double figures against Utah in the playoffs. So, and this guy was getting paid, 19, $20 million, if not more, and he's supposed to be the third option, but he's not performing. And OKC lost that series, and in a big part, in large, it's his fault, because Paul George and Russell Westbrook played the way they were supposed to play, but he didn't perform. He didn't perform like a third option, but in Houston, hopefully, he has a better, year, and plays with a chip on his shoulder. He looks great in practice. Hopefully, he can maintain his weight and do well. Um, yeah. So but I feel like he will fit in better with Houston, than he did with OKC, and I got Houston finishing third. So. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you think about Carmelo Anthony in the comments section below. Do you like the move of him going to Houston? Do you think he should come off the bench? Do you think he should start? Oh, before I end this video, in terms of do I think he should start or come off the bench, I believe that he should start. But Mike D'Antoni did say that he will explore the possibility of him coming off the bench. I mean, I feel he should start, and let the season progress. And if he's not playing up to standards, then move him to the bench. Give him a reason to go to the bench. Be like to Carmelo, hey, you're going to be going to the bench because you're not playing well. You can't base it off of last season now because he's going to have new teammates and new surrounding. So I'd start him. He still is one of the best offensive players in the league, but obviously a defensive liability. But in my opinion, I feel like he's still earned the right to, start, but he's going to start to, he needs to start to realize that, hey, Father Time's starting to catch up to him, and he's not the same player that he once was, and, he should, do what Dwayne Wade did. Dwayne Wade had no problem coming off the bench. I mean, if Dwayne Wade can do it, why can't you do it? But then again, he thinks about LeBron and how LeBron doesn't have to go through all this, but you're not in LeBron's class, so... yeah, I believe he should start, and if he, struggles the first month or two, then start to bring him off the bench. But you don't want him struggling for a long time because each game is valuable. So it's wait about like half a month or a month at most. If he's struggling, if he's not playing well, if he's causing chemistry problems, then bring him off the bench. But I believe, starting the season, he should start. He should start for that team, and hopefully he has a bounce back year. We'll see. Thank you guys for tuning in. So yeah, let me know in the comment section below whether or not you like this move or not, whether the Houston Rockets got better or worse, if you think Carmelo Anthony should be coming off the bench or starting. Continue to tune in to my channel. I got a lot more hot topics that I'm going to be discussing. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. I look forward to seeing your comments. Don't give me any biased answers. I don't want all these Carmelo Anthony fans, on my page and, explaining, biased opinions. But if you're a Carmelo Anthony fan, that's cool. But give me a legitimate reason, legitimate opinions and arguments towards, my opinion of Carmelo and how I think he's going to do. And let me know, in the comment section below. So continue to tune in, and I'll catch you guys next time.